we did it. Look at that.
Welcome back to Dance Unlimited. I'm here with Miss Cora today. She's one of our instructors, and she was also a dancer at Dance Unlimited. Today we are doing our Dance Unlimited success stories, and Miss Cora happens to be a success story for us because she got her start in dance in a very different way than most of us do. So, welcome, Miss Cora.
Thank you.
So, I remember when you first came to Dance Unlimited, I don't know if I knew you right away, but you started in your sophomore year of high school or your freshman year?
No, I want to say it was my 8th grade year because I finished my high school career with 5 years under my belt. So I only ever danced for 5 years before going off to college.
Before going off to college?
Yes. So it must have been 8th grade. Up until then, I did soccer.
Really?
Yes.
I never knew that.
Yes. So I played soccer. I dabbled in softball too.
That just doesn't seem like something you would do.
Yeah. I was really into it.
Yeah.
But one of my friends in school, she took dance here. And so she was telling me about it, and like at recess, she would show me her little moves that she was working on. I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so fun. Like, I want to do that too. And I remember it was really scary for me to ask my parents if I could quit soccer and do dance. They were like, well, you've never danced before. Like, why do you suddenly want to do this? I was like, I think it's something I would really enjoy.
Right.
So I came here, I signed up, and they put me in, the highest level class because of my age.
Right.
And that was really scary too.
Because you had never danced before. Now it was jazz or hip hop you did for the first?
I started with jazz.
And that was the only class you took that year, right? And what was your first recital? Was
I want to say
Disney?
it was Disney.
Disney? Yeah, probably.
Yes. So that was something, coming into a room of kids that had been dancing since they were like 3.
2 or 3, right.
And I knew nothing.
I thought that you had said that you used to watch YouTube videos, or didn't you?
I don't know if I did.
Not so
Maybe,
much.
but I mean, you can only learn so much from that.
Right.
I'm
not
more
like
of
there
like
was social media back then.
Right.
To learn things. Yeah.
Right. It's definitely more of a hands-on kind of learning experience.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was really tough, like getting acclimated and everything. But yeah, I started with Mary Beth, and she was awesome. And so I started with just jazz.
Right.
And then the year after that, I want to say I added in hip hop. And then my 3rd year, I was like, I'm just going to go all in. Why not?
Right.
I'm going to go all in. I joined the competition team.
That's right.
I did, ballet, like all of the other styles that I wasn't doing prior.
And that first competition dance was the red tape, right?
Yes.
My cousin Aaron was the jewel thief.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember when you started competition, because my mom's tap class, the competition group, Miss Jolene's group, I remember you would come in and stretch, and she would say, "Oh, hi, Miss Cora."
Yes.
And we were all like, "Oh, Cora's new,"
She was always trying to get me to join the tap competition team. I'm like, Miss Jolene, I've never even tapped before. Settle down.
Right.
Yeah.
But she saw that you obviously picked up. You can pick up things incredibly fast, obviously.
I guess so. Yeah.
And so you joined the competition team, and did you also start ballet that? Well, you had to.
I had to.
So you basically took at least 5 classes that year. Mm-hmm. And then did you ever do point?
I did. I want to say it was only my senior year though that I did point. I remember my parents were like, point shoes are too expensive, so I couldn't do it. But then by the time I was a senior, I had my own job and everything. So I was like, I'm getting point shoes and I'm going to do it.
I'm doing it myself.
So,
Right. So, and then the year after that, so after you did the competition team for the first time, so starting your 4th year, that's when you started tap a little bit, with Miss Christie, right?
Yes. I only ever had Miss Christie for tap.
And she was, and you were with the older girls like Brianna.
Again, yeah.
Yes.
It was hard.
Right.
But actually, my first year taking tap, Christy set aside time for me, like just her and I, so she could catch me up, which was really nice of her to
get you caught up.
to do that.
Great. Yeah. Well, especially because with tap, especially, it's much harder if you don't have those core basics.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's true with any form of dance, but if you haven't really done that footwork, it's much.
That was probably the hardest to pick up on, honestly.
Because it's all in your shins.
Yeah.
It's really
like small movements. It was
quick timing. You have to be really. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So after that, you had pretty much done all sorts of all genres at that point. So then you graduated high school in 2012, right?
Yep.
So after that, where did your dance journey go from there?
So I decided I wanted to essentially be Miss Mary Beth. I wanted to, teach dance, but I decided to go to Bridgewater State for dance education, which is, 2.5 hours away, depending on traffic. So I auditioned there, I got into their dance program, everything's fine. I made their hip hop team. So I performed at like basketball games, and we didn't do any competitions, but we did various like events around campus and off campus. So I kept busy doing that. I did their dance company on top of my regular dance classes that were required of me. It was all a great experience. The distance away from my family, however, was not ideal. So that part just wasn't for me. So I decided to move back home after one semester of Bridgewater State.
After the fall semester?
Yes. Okay. So I transferred actually to Westfield State, figuring that I could commute. The only problem was they didn't have a dance program. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm in a pickle here now.
Right.
And at that point too, a lot of my friends and my family were kind of giving me grief about, well, how are you going to survive, just teaching dance? You're going to need something more stable. You're a smart girl, you can do more with that. And so I kind of listened to them for a little bit. I was like, oh, maybe they're right. So I started majoring in Westfield in movement science. Thinking I could eventually get into physical therapy, maybe like specialize with dancers or something. I gave that a shot.
Wasn't for you?
I was like, I miss dance. I don't like this. It's too much science.
Yeah.
So not for me. And then after that, I was so discouraged that I took a year off from school. I was like, I need to figure it out. I can't keep like going back and forth.
And then you came back to Dance Unlimited for class.
Yes.
Because you were still dancing with Aaron and Brianna.
Right. So I took a year off from school, but I came back to Dance Unlimited because I missed dance.
Right.
So
and I remember that year before that you weren't taking class, you came back and you did a solo in the recital.
Oh yes,
remember that?
Yes, I did do that. Yeah. So you never
were away. Not 1 year.
Yeah, you guys never quite got rid of me completely.
Even though we tried.
I was always around in some capacity.
Right.
So that's what I did for a year. I just kind of cooled down. I wanted to see what I really wanted to do. And then going back for my sophomore year, I went to Springfield College where I stayed for the rest of my time, and I was able to major in dance again. And that's where I was. I was on their dance company performing. We did a dance club where we could choreograph for our peers, and we put on like a student-run show, which was really cool because I could kind of get an idea for how to choreograph better. I mean, we had choreography classes, but it was more hands-on.
Yeah, that's
being able to do that.
Honestly, that's usually an easier way to learn.
Yes,
you can figure out quickly what works and what doesn't work.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And did you put on shows by semester or?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So did all of that, which in fact, my first year going to Springfield College, so that was the fall of 2014. That's when, forget if it was Miss Linda or Miss Mary Beth, one of them reached out to me asking if I wanted to do like a little trial run of a modern class here. And
yes, that's right.
So we had it right before, or it could have even been during registration.
Yes, it was.
And I did that, and quite a few people came, and it was really exciting. It was nerve-wracking because I had never done that before.
Right. And it was new to our studio.
It was new.
So there was lots of people who were curious about it.
Right. So I did that, and that kind of grew into having modern here and me teaching here. And then it just slowly like snowballed into this big thing where now I'm teaching a lot of classes. So it was really lucky that it worked out that way.
Yeah, it did. So you after that, that first year for modern, then you came back that fall, and then were you just teaching modern again?
I was teaching modern, and I was also helping Mary Beth with her competition routines. I remember coming in on Fridays doing that, like assisting her. And I think that's where it slowly started. And then the year after is when I took over, I want to say maybe 2 ballet classes of Linda's. It wasn't like all at once. It just kept building slowly.
It was slowly, right. So, and then, so the past couple years, you've taken on a lot. I mean, sometimes you have like 15 groups and, or duos, solos. So what classes have you taught so far and that you usually continue to teach here? So
more consistently, I teach all the ballets. So ballet 1, 2, 3, 4. Ballet jazz combo, the littles.
Yes,
I do regular recreational modern, and stretch leaps and turns. And then competition-wise, jazz competition for the older girls, jazz competition for the younger girls, modern competition for the older girls, and then sprinkle in some solos and duos in there.
Yes.
And that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, because is modern like where you, like, is that your specialty, or you don't, or it's just
I think it's probably my favorite.
It's your favorite.
I've grown to, ballet didn't used to be even like the top.
On your radar.
Yeah.
Right.
But I started teaching it, and so just by doing it consistently, I was like, yeah, this is good. This is nice. I like it. So those 2 are definitely my top, and I do enjoy jazz as well. So I kind of got my favorites.
Yeah.
Like I'm able to teach my favorite styles.
Teach everything, yeah.
So
now so you've been taking modern the past 3-4 years to competition now?
Yeah, at least 4 years.
At least 4, yeah.
It could even be more, actually.
We'll have to look. We'll have to check on that.
Yeah.
Because I remember not this past year, but the year before. So it was 2021, the spring. I know my mom told you the story, but we were watching the live stream.
Yes.
And my mom I wasn't with her, but we were both watching at the same time. I was at my grandmother's house, and she texted me and she said, "What studio was that was just on?" She goes, that was like a professional performance. I said, those were our kids, because you couldn't tell with the masks on.
Right.
I said, those were us. I said, that was Miss Cora's number. And you ended up doing really well with that performance, right?
Yeah, they did really well with that number.
Yeah. Well, because they were so together and just so sharp.
Yes.
Especially with things like modern, when you do those arms and things like that, I mean, you have to be one. I mean, that's every dance, but that especially, you have to look like one.
Because it's not as impressive but if it's at the exact moment, that's when it becomes like really engaging.
Yes. Yeah. So how did the girls get into modern? Was it that you offered the class, or?
Yes. Yeah. So we just offered the recreational class for a while. And then I'm not even sure how we started taking it to competition. They must have asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't remember how that happened.
Yeah, but it just turned out
It
that
just,
way.
yeah, it just happened, and then they liked it, and so it
And you
stuck
kept with it.
around,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thankfully. Yeah.
So you also are a dance teacher at other studios as well. You're
Yes.
pretty well-rounded in that aspect.
Yes.
So what else do you teach elsewhere that you might not teach here?
I do tap.
Yes, I thought.
Only for the little
the little
people.
kids, right?
Yes, only for the littles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I do more.
When you first told me that, I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Because I had no idea that you. I knew that you tapped for a little while, but
Yeah.
I never knew that even that was something that they would ask you to do.
Mhm.
You know.
So it's kind of similar to what I teach here, but I don't normally teach ballet at the other studio, just because the owner there is like the ballet person.
Okay.
So
She's like the
she was like in the
That's her-
Boston Ballet, so
that's
she's
her thing, yeah.
she doesn't really let anyone touch
Right.
that.
right. Understandably.
Yeah.
I'd be the same way.
So actually, at my other studio, I teach more of the younger ones.
The younger kids. Yeah.
I'll do like the combo classes and the level ones. So whereas here, I feel like I get a
wide
decent
variety.
variety.
Yes. Yeah.
Over there, I'm a little more limited in that
Right.
way.
So you're able to be creative in terms of like it probably actually challenges you having to go when you're doing the little kids, and then like maybe the next class is the high school kids, and you really have to be versatile in your teaching methods.
Yes, and that does happen. I'll be teaching, a ballet jazz combo with 4-year-olds, and then the big girls come in, and I have to. It's like a switch. It's like a character almost. I have to switch from one suit to another suit.
Right. Exactly.
It's kind of, and I wonder why I get exhausted by the end of the night. But I think that's why. It's just so much energy.
Right.
Because
you're used to like okay, kids, now we're gonna start.
Right, and then once the big girls come in, it's like, I can be myself.
Yes.
I can be my adult self.
Yes. That's actually how I feel too. Like because I'm with Miss Jolene on Saturday mornings with her younger classes, and then I have another younger class on Fridays, and then I have the oldest group. And I just, not that I don't enjoy the other ones, but I enjoy the oldest group because I can just try and throw anything at them,
Right.
because they're more at our level in terms of dance experience and things like that. Their expertise is obviously much higher than a 4-year-old or 3-year-old.
Right.
So that's always fun, that I really enjoy for sure.
I do too.
So looking back now, did you think you were ever gonna? Obviously, this is not the plan you thought you were gonna have.
No, but I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been able to essentially make this my full-time job, which is what I wanted.
Right.
So it's kind of nice to be able to tell the people that doubted me and convinced me to take a different major.
Yeah.
To be like, well, I did it,
Right.
Here I am. This is what I wanted to do, and I did it.
Yeah.
So it is possible.
Exactly. And honestly, you're like the epitome of life doesn't always turn out the way you think it will. Because you were just playing soccer and dabbling in softball.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, you were, and the thing about it is that dance came so naturally to you. It wasn't like you were in 8th grade and you didn't have any rhythm, or you just didn't get the step. You're just doing it just to do it with your friends. It was something that you felt like, wow, I actually have a knack at this.
This fits me.
This fits me, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah. So, looking back at your time here when you were when you first started at Dance Unlimited, what was one of the things, or one of the something that a teacher said to you, or things like that, a lesson you learned that really stood out to you, if any, that you were like, oh, I can use this, in dance, I can use it in life?
Let's see. I mean, not necessarily a certain lesson, but I think it was really valuable seeing, because again, I had mostly Mary Beth as like
The primary.
right. She
instructor.
was, you know, jazz, hip hop, and competition team. So I saw her the most. So I think she likely impacted me the most. So not necessarily a specific moment in time, but she was always just so like happy to be here. And I saw that. And even like when things didn't go right, she was able to like twist it around and have a positive spin on it. And even like between combinations, like we would dance, you know, our little routine, we would stop, she would have to run over here to turn the music off, and I just remember her always like doing a little dance to go and turn the music off, and
she does do that.
Yeah, and now I find myself doing that.
The same thing, yeah.
So I think, I don't know, it's just really neat to see like how she impacted me, and now hopefully how I'm impacting the students that I have.
The next generation.
It's like that inspired me to want to be better and
yeah.
So I think that was a lesson in and of itself.
Yeah, that's a great little tidbit. Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. Well, thank you, Miss Cora, for sitting down with me today. So most of you know Miss Cora, but it was just nice to be able to sit down with her today. And honestly, I knew you didn't dance till you're older and things, but I didn't know the in-depth of your college career or anything like that. And now you're going to competition and we're winning first place trophies, and you're doing really well. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Miss Cora, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you on the dance floor.